Please remember to leave a like, a comment, share the video about, and if you haven't already, subscribe. Thank you.
Hello everyone, welcome back to a Megon 2 Electric Boogaloo. I'm going to in advance say sorry, because I have a new microphone, a Yeti X, but I'm still getting used to it and learning to get the most out of it. So if the audio still doesn't sound as possible, sorry. Today we're going to be responding to a video posted to Twitter by Dr. Jebra Fauché, who had tweeted, "Let's talk about noun-self pronouns." This one fascinates me because it was retweeted by Repsion. Repsion sits somewhat more progressive than other commentary channels. He's not super progressive, he just sits slightly more to the left than quite a lot of the ones I follow, because I'm a right-wing, bigoted fascist, of course. And not at all because I like to hear opinions that differ from my own. Repsion retweeted Dr. Jebra Fauché with, "I mean this in the least offensive way possible, but I can't do this anymore. Like, I'll go out of my way to respect your pronouns. But as somebody that's always struggled with English, this is beyond confusing, this is too far for my brain to comprehend." Later on tweeting, "I actively do anything I can to avoid folks like this in the video. They honestly scare me. They're so beyond gone that if you say the wrong thing around them or misgender them by accident, they'll have a meltdown. I can't be around people where I constantly feel like I'm walking on eggshells, especially with how dyslexic as fook as I am." Repsion raises a number of very important points, and I haven't even played the video yet. We on this channel have called out a number of different types of pronoun identities, and those that have different pronouns depending on the circle of friendship you inhabit. The closer you are, the more intimate the pronouns, but the further away, the more complicated and generic. Complicated because you've gone for something quite outlandish, generic because you've essentially just gone, "Go F yourself, I'm going to make this difficult for you so I can act like a victim afterwards, because I'm too introverted to make real friends." Which might seem like a peculiar slam, but you'll understand why soon once I play the video of this individual who is about as cliche as they get, with all those unique identities that have to be about them and make them stand out so much. Hipsters, you're all hipsters. Current year hipsters nonetheless. Let's play the video so we can start to understand this.
Self. I spoke about emoji self recently and a lot of you asked what noun self was, so let's talk about it.
According to dictionary.com, noun self is a type of invented gender-neutral pronoun used by some non-binary and genderqueer people in place of gendered pronouns such as he himself or she herself to express a spiritual or personal connection to a specific concept. The noun self pronoun is derived from a word, usually a obviously noun, that is linked to that concept, such as the use of star self by people who feel a connection to celestial objects, or bun self derived from bunny or Bunnahaven the whiskey by people who feel a connection to rabbits or scotch. I may have embellished on that a little. If you don't respect my new pronoun of Bunnahaven, Bunna self, then I do not like you, I disavow you, you are done for hate speech. You are essentially haram, and you should be ashamed of yourself.
Noun self is a form of neopronoun where an individual will use a noun to replace a pronoun. So instead of using he, him, she, they, he, she, they will use a noun in place of that.
What fascinates me about the very idea of using a noun as a pronoun is that you have in existence a proper noun. A proper noun serves as a name for a specific place, person, or thing. This distinguishes from common nouns because proper nouns are always capitalized. Proper nouns are personal names. So what makes you so unique that you have to go down the common route? I would assume it's because you're a muggle, or possibly because you're an oik, a pleb, a peasant, that you think common nouns are suitable pronouns. And then by extension, using your flawless logic and the logic of that dictionary definition, it is somehow another unique way to express yourself, which couldn't be further from the truth.
Now, what noun can they use? Well, to be honest, it's really up to the individual, kind of like emoji self.
I'll get to emoji self another day, I promise. Perhaps we should quickly point out that if someone can choose any noun they want to be their identity based on your vague interpretation of the definition, you have created another caveat for someone to say they are something more unique. But because noun self exists, the chances are, when more and more people use it, others will splinter away to try and create something else more unique. Verb, which let's face it would be highly unlikely as verb is a doing word. You'll often find within the videos of the people I cover, they don't do a whole lot. Adjective being the obvious. Give it more time, and title self will be it as well. Although since Beyonce named her son Sir, that already happened, you might find it's not unique enough.
Some people may choose a noun that better reflects their gender identity, they may use nouns that all have a similar theme, or they may just use a noun that they really like and enjoy the sound of, or the word. It's really up to the individual. And
you realise though, with how you're describing gender identity and the value of nouns being a pronoun, that you are essentially trivialising what gender identity is. You're trivialising what gender is. You're treating it as a token that can be discarded. A neat little hobby where you can put it on a bingo sheet and cross it off to say, on this day, I was this noun. On this day, I was less celestial and more barnacle. If it is down to the person based on it sounding cool, you're going to run out of cool words. A very small part of me keenly waits the day when you run out of all the cool words and the last one left is nonce. And someone goes, yeah, I can make that work, without any level of irony.
they can use as many nouns as they want. They can use multiple nouns, just like you might use multiple pronouns, or they may use just two pronouns to identify with or to be referred to.
Oh, look everyone, more hoops to jump through, because you can choose as many nouns as you want, because you'll want a truly unique number of them so that no one else can say they have that many pronouns that are nouns, that are their pronouns, or neopronouns, which are their nouns and pronouns. Sorry, are nouns and are pronouns. It's almost like you've forgotten what a proper noun is, because your parents chose that name for you. They wanted you to be called that, but you have decided your name is not enough. The pronoun is a very odd little hill to choose to continually battle on. The line in the sand appears to be very wibbly-wobbly as well. Inconsistent, because you've made it many people who choose this to be their hill to, well, fight on. Not necessarily die, because they're not dead. If they were, we still wouldn't be having these discussions. Apparently they're not emo enough. You're fighting over this identity aspect, but I don't really understand what the end game is. Everything really boils down to how narcissistic the individual choosing the noun pronouns or pronouns are.
In that previous clip, I didn't mean two pronouns, I meant two words in place of two pronouns. So instead of he, him, they may use bug and bug self.
In before someone asks if I'm going to go and find the first video to get the additional context, no, I'm bloody well not. I don't need it to make the necessary points now about how confusing this has gotten and the level of ludicrous it has reached, where this is no longer something many of us can keep up with. It's like once people become parents, their passions for certain hobbies go out the window, right? As we get older, it gets harder to maintain or sustain our connection with certain technologies. Because they get too advanced, the systems become too updated and modern, well, comparative to when we started, and we struggle to keep up. But this level of ludicrous is getting to a level of phone upgrades, where within 3 months of your phone being upgraded to the newest model, a newer model has just come out, and it has made yours redundant, and made it seem like you're using Google Chrome as a browser for everything, in the sense that it is constantly fumbling, stalling, and collapsing. And if you ever feel like you have the box on your screen, but in your life, in your brain, that says, Windows is not responding, yeah, this is it now. In action.
Hope that makes sense.
No, it bloody well doesn't, and I think you knew that from the offset.
So as I just said, bug is the example that I will use. So if I was talking about my friend who used bug and bug self as pronouns, I would say, oh, me and Bug are going to go head out for some pizza. Bug really wants to get pineapple on pizza. I don't really like pineapple on pizza, but it's Bug's favourite.
You know that's a crap example, right? Not because of the bug part, or the fact that blasphemy exists in the form of that pineapple on pizza. No. Because the person has a name, and if you are using that particular example, you refer to them by their name instead. You are trying to make someone seem more unique than they really are. Within my own little realm of this world, if I've encountered more than one person that share the same first name, if I am speaking of them, I sometimes go number 1 or number 2, because everyone knows what I'm talking about. The one that's older is number 1, the one that is younger is number 2, which means yes, they are a little shit. In the context of what you are providing as an example, beyond the blasphemy of course, we can discuss that another day. Your entire point is moot, because if you're saying, oh, bug, blah blah pizza, no, you could say, oh, and then their name wants this pizza. You realise how much simpler it is, but it's not about simplicity, it's about making things as difficult as humanly possible, especially if those nouns, and pronouns, and neonouns, pronouns, yes, all change on a daily basis based on whenever you bloody well want to sound cool, which you never do. You're never cool. We all know you got bullied in school.
And that's an example of how you would use Nounself.
I know a lot of people on TikTok like to think of themselves as educators when it comes to gender identity. I've often found what you actually do is poison the well, make it more complicated and more difficult to traverse. Because when one wants to invest as much time as you idiots do into your uniqueness, you undo everything that is unique about who you really are, exposing your more selfish side to try and make it seem like you are more than what you really are, because desperately people want to be something else and not settle for what they actually are, believing that everything about them is unrealized potential. In this instance, unrealized potential to get attention, which is a tad tragic at this point.